And your mother income is also zero, so how are they surviving?
So they are surviving on their retirement benefits, and I am sending some money home every
You're
month.
supporting. Very good. How many brothers and sisters are you?
We are three siblings. My elder sister is married, and younger brother is pursuing his BCom.
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 We find that so far you have taken 5 examinations. What happened in those 5 examinations? Could you clear means?
No, sir. This was my
This is the first time.
Yes.
So what went wrong that you could not qualify? So you are so bright. I found that 88.4 and then 86 and then 78.6 in BTech.
Yes, sir. So I was preparing alongside the job, and I could not devote too much time to the preparation because I was new to the job and I had to learn. And then I could also not quit job because I had studied on an education loan. So that's why my focus was more towards earning money than preparing for the examination. So somewhere my preparation was lacking for the past 3 years or so.
So how much time are you devoting for your preparation?
2 hours every day.
2 hours a day and continuously for a period of last 3-4 years, 5 years.
Not continuously, sir. I was not completely disciplined in my study because sometimes I used to spend time on weekends out going out with friends.
Why did you take zoology?
I had zoology in 10 plus 2. I had conceptual clarity and also I had access to notes
You are
from my
taking
cousin.
zoology for 10 plus 2 and then you switch over to engineering.
Yes, sir.
Mathematics, that means.
I had maths with bio.
No, I understand that. But why did you pursue MBBS?
The seats were very limited and I couldn't get through the PMT exam. I gave both PMT and engineering entrance examinations.
You come from Roorkee and Haridwar. Suppose you are navigating from Gombo to Haldia. What all states would you encounter and what will be the main town along the river Ganges?
Okay, sir. So from Gomukh, I'll pass Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, I'll pass Bihar.
No, first you take Uttarakhand, main town on the banks of Ganges.
There will be Kedarnath, and there will be Haridwar, and there will be Rishikesh. And
First Rishikesh or first Haridwar?
I have not visited Rishikesh, sir, but I believe it will be Rishikesh. I'm not
First
sure.
Rishikesh.
Yes.
Alright. Then Haridwar thereafter?
Thereafter, we move to Uttar Pradesh, and in Uttar Pradesh, there will be Varanasi is on the banks of the Ganges, and then there is
Any other town?
Kanpur is on.
So first Kanpur or first Varanasi?
First Kanpur and then Varanasi.
And then what go? Where is go?
Prayagraj.
Alright. Okay. It goes to Bihar.
Bihar.
So which important town?
Patna.
Alright.
And then move to West Bengal.
Oh, there is another state between West Bengal and Bihar.
Yes.
Which is the main town?
I'm not. I don't know, sir.
Bhagalpur.
Kabul.
Okay, and main town in West Bengal?
Sorry, sir. I don't know.
Calcutta?
Oh, yes. Sorry about that.
Alright. Okay. Now tell me, government has introduced certain amendments in the labor laws and the maternity benefit act. So what amendments have been made in the maternity benefit act?
So, sir, in the Maternity Benefits Amendment Act, the maternity leave has been increased now. It is close to 270 days, 6 months or so.
270 days.
Uh,
Exactly what is the term used in the amendment?
I don't know, sir, but it's 6 months of maternity leave. Initially, it was
26 weeks.
Yes.
Yes, yes, 26 weeks.
It's 26 weeks of maternity leave, and some 8 weeks or so can precede the delivery date. And there has also been made a provision that any organization that has
Alright.
10 or more.
And what about the Child Labor Act?
So the Child Labor Act, child labor has been completely, it has been banned, and any child which is 15 years age or below cannot be.
15 years, are you sure? 14 years.
Sorry about that. So 14 years or below cannot be a part of any employment other than if the child is in entertainment business, and that too for a limited number of hours.
What about, there is some exception in this.
If the child is a part of family business, family enterprise.
When you say part of family, what does that mean? Can she or he work in that family?
In the family business, yes, for a limited
But-
number of hours.
No, Kajal, that the word uses help. A child can help in the family enterprise and not work. So they both are two different.
Okay, sir. Understand, sir.
All right, very good. Now tell me, people say that India is the fastest growing economy, more than 7% growth. On the other hand, people say that we lost about 1.1 crore jobs last year. It has been basically a jobless growth. And recently there was some kind of a report which has not been published as yet, which got leaked out in the press. And we say that the unemployment is at the highest level of last 45 years. What do you think? What is the problem? So the growth is meaningless growth of 7.2% kind of thing, when it is not creating jobs.
Yes.
So
sir.
how will you react to this? What are your views on this?
So, sir, I think that we still need to have a very nuanced debate on, because every report gives a conflicting set of data. There are some reports, the leaked report from Niti Aayog, the leaked report which says that the employment rate is at an all-decade high, and then there are people who have already refuted it. And we also have the EPFO data which says that there has been a record number of EPF registrations this year. So definitely that there has.
So what is the, why when government says that EPFO has got more subscribers to his scheme, on the other hand people say that they have lost so many jobs. So what do you think? What is the problem? And where the disconnect?
So, sir, I think that the pool of data, the sample that every different agency picks up for reporting the unemployment or employment data is different, and the methodology is different. So EPFO will look at only the formal employment that is generated. The informal will be out of the
Very
area.
good, very good. So do you think that the employment has gone down?
Sir, I think personally that the employment rate is going up because if you look at the EPFO data itself.
EPFO captures only the formal data.
So if
Formal employment, and
if
not the
there-
informal. Sorry.
Sorry, sir. If there is EPFO itself, I mean the formal jobs are increasing, then definitely there will be an additional data added for informal. That can't be negative because we have startup India
A
said.
whole lot of guys, they were basically the formal, they were in formal employment. However, because once you become a formal, you come into the formal sector, you have to pay for their EPFO and for their ESIC and lot of organization are not doing that, so they are evading that. So they are now being brought under that the formal arrangement. But it does not mean that there is a net addition in the employment. Suppose I was working for some organization, and that organization, technically speaking, should have been a formal, but they are not declared that to be a formal organization. So I was not counted as a formal employee, so I was not a part of EPFO. Thereafter, because of enforcement, this organization was brought under EPFO. So there's no new employment is created. I was working earlier also, I am working now also.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I had not accounted for that. I'll have to research more on this.
All right.
Can I add something, sir?
So, go ahead.
See, you say that the employment is going up. Then why are they denying the data of NSS? They have not received a report from NSS. When NSS member, two members, outside members have resigned, saying that we have already submitted a report to government. Are they suppressing some information about employment?
Sorry.
You know NSS?
Yes, sir. National.
Their report is a very valid document for this for these things. And government is denying that we have not received any report from the NSS. And whereas two members of the NSU have resigned simply because they are saying that government is just denying what we have done.
Yes, sir. So I read about this controversy and just a day back, and I think that there should be a set protocol that should be followed. That if there are two people who were involved in preparing a report, there should be some set of guidelines that when the report should be put in the public domain, and if there should be a separate audit, maybe CAC can be involved in this for auditing the data that NSSO has put out, but it has to be in public domain. I think it might be suppressed because there might be some anomaly in the calculations that is going on
No, but
in the NSSO.
ma'am, this is the domain of that commission.
Yes,
Once the commission approves that matter ends, thereafter it has to be in the public domain.
yes,
Government cannot look into this kind of data collection and statistics.
yes.
Does it not hamper credibility of the government?
At a point, yes, sir, it does. If there are two conflicting statements coming from two agencies, it does.
Yes, Kajal, you have done your electronics and communication engineering, right? From
Yes.
GL Institute of Technology. Where is GL located?
It's in Mathura, sir.
Acha, okay. Isn't that GL Bajaj school? No,
sir.
that's a different one. Okay. In one of the hobbies you have mentioned in your profile is on blockchain technology.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain very briefly what is blockchain technology is all about, and what are its main applications?
Okay, sir. So blockchain is nothing but a distributed system of keeping ledgers or records.
Okay.
So if we talk about any centralized ledger, we say that one person will be maintaining the sanctity of all the data that's maintained in the ledger, and it is prone to attacks and all. What blockchain does it has a data structure of its own, and it maintains that in a distributed format over number of nodes that are connected in a network. So that means the ledger will be distributed to all the nodes that are connected. Any node will be able to access the computing facilities on any node, and then the sanctity of data is based on the other nodes verifying that whatever data has been added to that or whatever transaction has been made is valid or not. So it depends on the trust of all the nodes that are connected to blockchain.
Okay.
Its major application will be, as we see, is cryptocurrency, and the major impact is it removes intermediaries. So any record keeping, wherever we see if money or any other data, say for example intellectual properties changing hands, so any such places like medical records, it has applications
Do
there.
you see applications in education sector?
Yes, sir, it can have application in any, if we are giving any, say for example, reservation benefits or sports quota benefits, then we can use it there. We can also keep it as a record for digital certificates of, degrees or any educational certificates that are passed on to the students. They can be maintained in blockchain data structure.
You mentioned short while ago that typically there are no intermediaries involved, right?
Yes, sir.
So do you see any application in industries which are hugely dependent on distribution, for example? So do you see blockchain can be applied in, let's say, FMCG sector?
FMCG, yes sir, if we are procuring goods from any farm to fork model type of industry, it can be applied because intermediaries can be removed, but then the entire warehousing, inventory management also has to be digitalized, so that is a challenge there.
Okay. Now, you work with ENY, you work for Wipro and Deloitte, right?
Yes sir.
Now, I find all these three companies is in character and nature different from each one. They are distinct. So can you compare the three very briefly and your comparative profiles in these three organizations?
Yes sir. So Wipro Technologies is an India-based MNC.
Okay.
And I joined there as an ABAP coder. So SAP is an ERP application. So all the enterprise resources that are there, be it procurement, sales, HR, anything can be put into one system and remove all the legacy systems. So I was a coder in ABAP for SAP in Wipro.
Okay.
So the culture there is the number of people who are fresh graduates and hired is more. Also, they invest a lot in non-technical graduates as well because they have their own 5-year integrated course. So I see that fresh out of college environment in Wipro. Whereas EY and Deloitte both have similar culture because these are a part of the Big Four clan. And here my profile is into risk advisory. So I'm into SAP itself, but I design the access rights as to who will have access to what applications in the SAP system.
Okay.
And the culture here is they hire only from very few select colleges, and most of the people are lateral hires. I see more competition in these firms because most of the projects are not support or application maintenance projects. So we have very small teams
So
here.
what's different about them?
Uh,
Let's say EY versus Deloitte.
So I was a part of the offshore firms in Deloitte and EY both, not the regional practices. So Deloitte is a very mature firm because it's a CMMI 5-level firm. And when I talk about EY, it's pretty nascent in the risk technology environment. They just began a couple of years back. So they have a sort of a very new culture, and we are still trying to gain more clients.
Okay.
So that's the difference.
Let's move away from technology to, let's say, economy. Can you, what is the current rate of GDP growth rate of Indian economy?
So, sir, the revised estimates are 7.3 to 7.6% for the past year.
Okay, so how do you estimate GDP growth rate? What are the critical inputs?
So the critical inputs are how much has been the industry growth. The IIP is one, how much per capita income has grown, how the entire manufacturing and agriculture has grown.
Okay. And the method of computing has been changed a few years ago. Are you aware about that?
Yes, sir, the base year has been changed at which we
Or is it the way
calculate.
it is computed?
Sorry, sir?
Is it the way it has been computed?
I don't know, sir, sorry.
Okay. Okay, one is consumption based, the other one is expenditure based. Anyway. Now I'll make a statement and I would like very brief 1 or 2 comments on the statement. Globalization is the child of capitalism. That is the first part of the statement. Globalization is the child of capitalism. And my second part of the statement is, do you see globalization as spoiled child of capitalism?
I agree partly to both the sentences. Globalization per se, when we say, it has existed since time immemorial because business between nations had gone since centuries. However, I feel that the whole debate about it being a spoiled child or not, people not getting the due benefits from globalization is hijacked because of the entire superpower and retaining their hegemony concepts. Because if we look at US, which is considered as the hallmark of globalization, then their entire economy is based on trade, their supremacy in technology, and immigrants. Now, if they say that globalization has, then they've not been able to reap benefits from globalization, I think it seems a bit far-fetched, and it has led to phenomenal growth as well as interchange of culture between people. If we see India, we see so much seepage of Western culture and even Western ideals and concepts of, democracy, freedom of speech, and individualism. So I think this has both positive and negative sides to it. However, the positive way more than the negative.
In your opinion, okay.
Yes.
My last question to you, moving away from the first 2 areas, is in your opinion, what is more important, intelligence or emotional intelligence? First of all, have you heard about these terms?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So which one of the two is more important?
So I think emotional intelligence is more important than intelligence because when we talk about human interaction, then the concept of emotional intelligence is something that gives it more of a personal touch, empathize with other people, and then take better decisions. If a person will be intelligent, he can be objective in his analysis, that's fine, but he might not be able to grasp those certain nuances about the situation, or maybe the people who is to benefit or who it may impact. So emotional intelligence is
So to
very
put in
important.
brief, what would be, in your opinion, the elements of emotional intelligence in one word each? Yeah.
First thing has to be how you grasp the situation overall, how you factor in the other person's emotions and beliefs, and how you respond to it.
One is self-aware, the other is environmental awareness or awareness about others, and third component, of course, is interpersonal, empathy, as you very rightly mentioned. That's all from me.
Yes. How do you link IQ with emotional intelligence with corporate social responsibility?
Sorry, sir, can you repeat your
Could you
question?
just link the connection between, in a conceptual way or your own way you answer, emotional intelligence and corporate social responsibilities? Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. So emotional intelligence, as we said, it has, as sir mentioned, it has to be about the environmental awareness, who's around you, what you are inside. So, and corporate social responsibility means you are earning profit somewhere. You also have to be you giving back to the society. So we've heard this phrase that there is a triple bottom line about any business. It has to be about profit, people, and I've forgotten, sorry, the third one. So planet, sorry about that. So when we talk about corporate social responsibility, that means the people who are earning profit either through people or by selling something to people, they also have to give back to the planet and the people. So they should be investing back money as well as resources in the welfare of the larger population.
Okay. In a globalized world, and particularly after the structural adjustment that taking place in what we generally call neoliberalism, the new idea came as special economic zone. So do you think that where the very basic rights of a working man is violated, and it is in fact a genre is created detaching from the very constitution and authority? So how do you think that they can, on the one hand, profit is the most important aspect of the LSSBR policy, which defines liberalism and its avatar, new avatar in a new liberal policy. Can they make the real meaning? Can they communicate the real meaning of corporate social responsibility?
I'm sorry, I'm unable to answer that question.
Okay, being a part of you, just it's a concept. And you are coming from Meerut. What is the link between Meerut and 1857 revolution?
So the first War of Independence started from Meerut. So on 10th May 1857, there was a group of 90 soldiers who rebelled against the use of the Enfield rifle, and the mutiny broke out from there. Also, there was a civil mutiny that broke out in the Meerut cantonment area on that day, and then they marched on to Delhi. And,
what was the structural change it brought in administrative system of India, the 1857 revolution?
So the company rule ended, and the rule was taken over by the British Crown. Also, all the doctrines of labs and other subsidiary alliance that used to suppress the sovereignty of Indian princely states, they were abandoned.
Okay, so after the revolution, when the Raj came to exist, there is a structural change. So what is its connection with the Indian civil service?
So the Indian civil services began with Lord Cornwallis's attempts, and I'm not very sure of the answer.
Okay, this is the time when we generally start very proper governing system. Before that, it's a company, it's just
Yes,
a East India Company, or East India Company has more subsection. And now coming interesting thing that you like cooking, right? Which dish you like more?
I like rice-based dishes like matar pulao and chettinad rice.
Any curry or a gravy or dry one? Which one?
Yes, I make egg curry, and I like paneer dishes and lentils. Normally, dal tadka.
Okay, if you make an egg curry in this mustard oil, not a refined one, and or if cook it in coconut oil, which one will be the most tasty one?
I have not tasted coconut oil, but I prefer making in olive oil. So it's more tasty if it's made with ghee, and then you put a little salt on the fried eggs, and then you make the skin crispier, and then dip them in the gravy. Then it comes out better.
That answer is not correct. Effort is very subjective. So coconut will be very good for South Indian and Kerala. For you being born in a UP, now coming to another question. So do you think that India being a secular country, many states are banning the beef eating?
Sorry, many states are?
Many states actually stop and like not beef eating, particularly cow eating, and of course it has emotional attachment. I will not say. But what about if the people cook buffalo? Being a from the constitutional framework, do you think that is good?
I don't have any problem, or I don't think that anybody should have a problem with the food habits of people. Uh, we tend to think that India is a land of vegetarians and we should not be eating beef or pork or chicken for that matter. But I think it should be left to the people to choose, because everyone has their own nutritional requirements and access to whatever kind of food they may get, because they may prefer seafood or they may prefer beef, and beef is a very good source of protein. So I think that should not be a debate per se. Also, we've seen in UP that there are so many cases where people are simply dumping their cattle in government departments just because they're aged and they cannot take care of them. It's a monetary expense that they have to make, and then they cannot trade them to slaughterhouses. So that also creates a sort of problems. It's a source of income as well to the farmers, as well as a source of protein. So I think there shouldn't be no secularism debate there. You should be taking care of cattle because it's a source of livelihood to people, and government is taking steps, but it should not be banned per se.
Good. So Western influence is good. You said some of the Western influence. The very meaning when you say that Western influence, we are making our category that we are something different. And you said that the flow of the ideas were existing always. So do you contradict yourself?
No, sir. So there has always been this difference between the Western and the Eastern, the Oriental ideologies. So we as a culture and all the Southeast Asian and South Asian nations, when we see, we give more importance to community and family. And so I'll just try to give an anecdote here. When you watch Chef Australia, you'll see that those people tend to seem that they believe in learning and tend to put out beautiful dishes, and if the judges scold them, then they take that criticism positively. On the other hand, if you see MasterChef US, you'll find that difference, that those people believe in individualism more. So even when they have to say that yes, they messed up a dish, they'll say this was not my best dish. So that difference of individualism versus community is very subtle there as well.
And how do you evaluate from the individualism the very show called Friends, which was very popular?
Yes, sir.
How do you evaluate it? There is no individualism, people are living and collective thing they are showing, and it worked in a very accepted way.
So if you look at all those characters individually, for example Phoebe, so there were some incidents wherein Phoebe used to say sorry and then just get over with it. On the other hand, Monica was a person who wanted to please and appease everyone. So that sense of individualism where Americans can say sorry and simply move on. If the other person doesn't accept their sorry, it's okay with them. So that concept in itself, I think, is quite
What is the very essence of India then?
I think the very essence of India is family, because we tend to give a lot of importance to family, and as a child I came from joint family, and the time when we moved on to become nuclear family, when we split everything, it was such an emotional moment for all of us that we couldn't come to terms with it for 2-3 years or so.
What is family?
So family is, if we talk in the real sense, is people who are related by blood and related by paternity, especially in North India. I don't want to say paternity only, there can be matrilineal lines as well. but family is people who are closely related by blood relations.
Also appropriate.
Disposal of e-waste, you are from electronics.
Yes, sir.
Disposal of e-waste has become a serious problem. What do you want to say? How it can be disposed of safely?
From the electronic circuits, there is gold plating that can be taken off, and I had read a report at some place wherein around 30 or 40% of the gold reserves were in e-waste, and also there are a lot of rare earth metals that go into the e-waste, so those have to be segregated. However, it's a little bit difficult in processing. India doesn't have much processing facilities in e-waste because all those components, metals have to be completely extracted. So I think we should be focusing on segregation at the source, and also like we've introduced a policy, there is a policy for the people who are packaging stuff, for example at Amazon or Flipkart, they have to take care of the plastic that they're generating. So we should be doing such things in electronic waste as well.
What are the components of black ash?
Sorry sir, I don't know.
Your parents belong to Meerut and Shamli, Bagpat.
Yes.
What is the major agri product of these areas?
Sugarcane, sir. And
Sugarcane, why sugarcane? Why people are going for sugarcane only?
it's a very fertile belt, sir, and I mean, in my village as well, there is free use of water. People just set up their tube wells everywhere. It is cheap. Electricity is properly available, and the procurement, the entire belt is full of sugarcane mills. So the
Yeah,
payments come quickly.
That's it. You tell me about sports industry of Meerut. How and why it flourished in Meerut.
I don't know the history of it, but yes, Meerut is called the sports capital of the country because cricket bats are made there, and other gym equipments are also starting being made in Meerut.
So after partition of India, so many artisans from Jalandhar and Sialkot, they settled in Meerut,
Okay, sir.
and they carried over this industry also. Thank you.
Okay, Kyle, it was very interesting to talk to you. Please wait out for 40 minutes and then recording for that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.